everybody and goeienaand almal.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh and a good evening to you, sir.
Yeah, tonight I have our beloved Maulana Sabri David, who is, of course, well known on the airwaves, especially Radio Voice of the Cape, but he is also the Imam of Rocklands Masjid or Masjid Uthani. He is the Amir of the Imamate Council of Mitchell's Plain, and is also marriage counselor at the for the MJC, located in Tafulsa. Maulana, tell us about yourself. Who is Maulana Sabri? Where does he come from?
Yeah, have you got time?
By all means.
Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. We're not in the habit of discussing ourselves. We're not in the habit, we don't like actually to talk about ourselves. But if we have to, I'm a young lad, grew up in the late 70s, or rather the early 70s, here in Hanover Park. Born in District 6, thrown out by the apartheid government to Hanover Park. Early 70s, grew up in Hanover Park through the 80s, got married in Hanover Park and moved to Mitchell's Plain in 1989, alhamdulillah.
Did you always want to be a Maulana?
My family actually tells me that it's always been as a young child, as a young lad growing up, I always said I want to be a sheikh one day, according to many of the elders in my family. And perhaps also at a very late stage, I realized that I was not following my dream. And I was not pursuing what I loved. Although what I did, I really adored, I was passionate prior to having gone to study. But I discovered after 15 years that I don't like what I'm doing. I don't love what I'm doing.
Right. So you studied, from what I know, you studied for a specific skill, and then you changed course.
Yes.
A skill where you earn money.
Plus benefits.
Plus benefits. To something that we would say, lillah.
Almost. So far, two more from Lillah. I like the way you describe it, Sheikh. I think everybody, all our viewers, and everybody's going to view this afterwards will agree. And if they don't know, let us be the ones to share with them the Lillah part and what Sheikh means. So Sheikh is saying, and this is what an important point, Sheikh. I had a lucrative career in terms of development, in terms of benefits. The salary might not have been all that. It was enough to survive and even a little bit more. But there were other benefits. You had medical aid, a 2/3 subsidy. You had housing subsidy of 2/3. You had pension, 2/3 pension. So all of those benefits were incorporated in my prior career.
Yeah.
But I still didn't love that.
All right.
So I left all of that.
At what age?
I would have been way over 30.
Allah Akbar. Allah Akbar.
Way over 30. And I always had this desire, and it was a burning desire to spend my life and my time studying the deen of Allah.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, we achieved it through Allah's qudra and fadl. Oh, I should phrase that differently. Allah chose us.
No, naturally. Oh,
Alhamdulillah.
Sheikhana, when you look now at the amount of time that you've been at Masjid Uthani, what was your initial challenges, and is it any different today?
So one doesn't want to speak about all the challenges that there were, but my initial challenge was I've never done this before. And so I had models and I had examples to base my approach on. In other words, I didn't come from the college where I studied with all of the skills and all of it. I do believe, though, that some of the skills that I acquired in my prior career, definitely, probably the bigger percentage of it, played a role in my current position.
But So sorry
It's
to
fine.
intervene. Perhaps I should have asked. When you started at Masjid Thani, was that the first imamah?
Yes, that was the first imamate post that I've ever had in my life.
Because now I'm and so that this comes with that question, the challenges. I mean, being an imam, because I know at the time I was in Saudi there. I knew the type of challenges that they had, especially with imams coming and going. And so you're fresh out of uh, out of school in terms of the ulum, and then thrown into this deep end because they had their own challenges, and I'm sure that would not sit easy for you to just
So if
fall
I
in
can,
line. Let's
yes,
put it that way.
yes. So if I can relate this, Sheikh, one particular Jumu'ah, a gentleman came to me and he spoke ill of the masjid, of the committee of the masjid, of the community. And my response to him, I could have listened to him till the end, but my response to him was, and I think this helped me actually. My response to him is, please let me experience my own experiences. That immediately neutralized and negated all preconceived ideas or thoughts or information that I had about the masjid and the community. And I told myself, I might inherit some of those issues. I might inherit what has happened, but I'm not going to make it mine. And I think perhaps my neutrality, I was very neutral, I still am very neutral. My neutrality has helped, the, has really alleviated, in fact, some of the challenges that are that are historically found in that particular, or were found in that community. Now that is close to 2 decades ago.
Yeah.
So I told myself, if I'm going to make any of those challenges my challenges, I'm going to fail. Number one. Number two, I have to be neutral because I have a committee that runs the affairs of the masjid. We have the musallis, the community by extension, who's divided between their loyalty to the previous imams, whoever it may have been, and the committee. So we have a divided community. Am I going to divide the community further, or am I going to try to bring unity? And therefore, I went in with a neutral frame of mind. I decided to remain neutral. The challenges were amazing, Sheikh, because some of the committees, some of the musallis and the community tried to win me over to their side to turn against the committee. I have discovered differently. I've discovered that
The
politics
of masjid.
yes, and I've been through that. Alhamdulillah, close to 2 decades later, I'm still there. I do want to believe, wallahi, bila fakhr, without any iota of boastfulness. I do want to believe that I might have done something right to have been there 2 decades. But I did not pass a judgment on anybody. That helped me greatly, alhamdulillah. And Marvin, we want to just say to the viewers, whatever is said is not said with any amount of boastfulness or kibr in mind. We're just speaking, we're just talking.
Yeah, indeed. And now back to the challenges that you had. Since you were there, and has it changed? Is it still there?
A lot of it has changed. I was in where I had to prove myself to both the committee, I had to prove my worth, and to the community. And I had to shift the focus from being problem orientated to being solution orientated. In other words, I had to take people with me to get away from negativity and into positivity. How did we achieve that? With Allah's qudra, we achieved that through trying to keep the masjid alive with programs. Because that shifted everybody's focus from person to program. So because it was a lot of the challenges and a lot of the conflicts, one can safely say that it was personality orientated. It was not issue orientated. We had to remove that. Alhamdulillah, today we have close to, in fact, I want to proudly say no issues in terms of community on the one side, committee on the other side, the imam in the middle. I would want to see us as a one big happy family.
Khairan, now referring to those socio economic type of problems that you have as a masjid, that your community faces, because they come to you and they tell you, I have this problem. I don't have rain. The children hasn't eaten. What is it that you do?
So that is probably one of the biggest challenges we face. In the beginning, the masjid received donors or donations and sponsorships from various sources, and we could successfully run for many years. We could run what we refer to as a Baitul Mal, where we could give a few pieces or a few items of groceries to those who are in need. Unfortunately, times have changed. Business people don't come on board as much as they used to in the past. That has changed. So we are still facing a challenge. Currently, we do receive, but on a very minimal scale. On a very minimal scale. So it is a challenge, that particular aspect of socioeconomic challenges, that is probably the biggest thing. We have not been able to overcome it. I don't think there's even an area or a masjid that really does overcome it.
Right.
We still have that.
But I'm also sure that some of our viewers out there, they are probably waiting, because with their pockets full, they want to know, what do I do with all this money?
They can start with the imam.
Oh, brilliant
They can
idea.
start with the
Brilliant
imam.
idea. Do you have contact details on that?
Yes, we can share that.
Yeah.
Probably because this is not a rehearsed chat, so I'll probably just give my number, and then from there, whoever wants to make contact can make contact. But of course, bearing in mind, Sheikh, I'm taking a few days rest.
Okay.
I think Sheikh would agree. Sheikh being in the fraternity and Sheikh being an imam as well, Sheikh can identify exactly what happens to an imam. We too get tired. We stay away from our families, our wives, our children. So this time of the year, I usually take a few days rest. But we will share our number, and then inshallah, in the new year, whoever wants to make contact can make contact. Sheikh wants me to share it now or later?
What I will do, because I'm making taking clip from here, I will put it on the clip at the bottom of the clip.
Okay, perfect.
So when I distribute it, inshallah, people then whatever mail they are, maybe they can even email you.
Yes.
And then take it from there.
Yes.
Inshallah.
Yes.
Maulana, and of course, you're also the chairperson of the Imam Council of Mitchells Bay. What is the Imam Council of Mitchells Bay? A lot of people did not hear about the Imam Council of Mitchells Bay. What is it?
So I'm going to take this, and I hope we have enough time, Sheikh.
Bismillah.
So back in as early as 2012, the MJC understood that there was a almost gap. There was a disconnect between central and the imams on grassroots level. The MJC understood that, they realized that. So they brought to life something called the RICs, the Regional Imamate Councils, where they divided Cape Town, or the Western Cape, I should say, into, at the time it was 6 zones. And just for Sheikh's information, there's a 7th zone now, the Boekap, Woodstock, Salt River, Walmer Estate area, Maitland, Kensington as well. So they divided at the time the Western Cape into 6 zones, stretching as far as the Boland even. So it was BIC, which is the Boland Islamic Council. They never changed their name. It was ICOMP, the Imamate Council of Mitchells Bay, ICOS, the Imamate Council of the southern suburbs, which would be your Grassy Park, Retreat, Lavendale, Steenberg, Wynberg areas. Imamate Council of the African Townships, your Kailicha, your Langa, your Nyanga, your Gogoletu, the African Townships. The Imamate Council of the northern suburbs, who actually functioned before that as United, or rather, the ulama of the northern suburbs, and they subsequently just changed their names, which would be your Goodwood, your Belleville areas, your Delft areas, and then the Imamate Council of the Athlone region, which would be Athlone, Rylands, Hanover Park, your Hanover Park, those areas, the central areas. And then so those were and then it was the Imamate Council. So it's ICOM, ICOS, ICAT, ICONS, BIC, and we had the sixth one. What was the sixth one, Sheikh? It's southern suburbs, northern suburbs, Mitchell's Plain, townships. Um, what was townships, and then it was the BIC and Central now at six. But there's a seventh one. I can't quite get to it now. But anyway, so that is how ICOMP in 2014 came to life.
Right.
Under the auspices of the MGC, but the Imams now sharing their challenges of that particular region, which is a region on its own. We've got more than 30 masajid, of which Sheikh is one of the Imams. So we've got common challenges, common problems, we've got common concerns. So the main focus was where Imams can now interact amongst themselves as well as with Central. This has become a vehicle where MJC Central could now disseminate information, projects, etc., and it works quite well.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
But let us keep the Imam Council to ICOM.
Yes.
The challenges of ICOM, is it being addressed through the Imam Council, or are we leaving that to, for example, to the MGC to resolve?
So a lot of the challenges that we face locally are probably what all the other Imama councils also face. I'm going to be very frank and open when I say attendance of meetings, for example, is a challenge because Imams are busy. I'm going to give it that Imams are busy, they're occupied. Some Imams teach, they start teaching on a Saturday morning from 8 o'clock till Dhuhr. So they don't have time to attend. So that's one challenge. We try to address it locally, but it's universal. We've discovered that's universal. But another challenge is funding. The Imam Council does not receive funding from MJC or anywhere else. So that is a challenge. Perhaps that should be discussed with MJC, but just to say it is a challenge, because when we do give events or when we do have programs, the funding comes from internally. We've identified, alhamdulillah, partners, and I would like to actually mention those partners. One such partner that we have is via Maulana Shafiq Nolan, the Imam of the Western East Masjid, and he heads an organization, the Western Province leg of that organization. What's it? Ashraf al Aid.
Yeah.
They always on board to assist.
Yeah.
We have received assistance from Sanzif in the past. We have received assistance from an institute called Darul Furqan, which is a Hifd institute run by Maulana Ashraf and others. Maulana Ashraf Lamara, who's one of the previous serving Imams at the Montrose Park Masjid, better known as the Farm. But due to health matters and challenges, Maulana had to step down because of his health. So those are some of the partners that always partner with us in the event of having an event.
So what type of issues does the Imam Council give attention to?
Currently, we focus on things that needs focus that has not been given focus. Let me demonstrate. One focus, and I'm going to dare to say, Sheikh, the historical focus, or rather the historical fact. We were the first Imam Council group of people. One doesn't like to refer to it in that way, but for the sake of discussion, we were the first group of ulama to have given acknowledgement to muaddins. We had a nice event. Alhamdulillah, we had it the second time in a row, where we just brought them all together. We gave them a beautiful meal. We shared some words of wisdom with them, and we shared a small gift of appreciation with them. We had partners for that as well. This year, Alhamdulillah, 2025, we were able, through another partner, AIC Travels, we were able to give an Umrah ticket to one Muaddin. So that is the growth that we've seen in a year. Our desire is to send more of our Muaddins on Umrah, the Muaddins and the caretakers. We were praised far and wide because it was the first event of its kind. We also have our annual Imams Appreciation event, but more so it's for the ladies, for our wives, where we bring our wives together to an occasion. We have a nice meal together, we laugh a bit together, and we actually give a small gift. Although it's a small gift, but to our wives, it means that we are recognized and then we give a little gift to the wife as well. So those are two of the events. We are, inshallah, hoping, and I'm hoping, and I'm speaking directly to the viewers, we are hoping that, inshallah, in the coming year, to develop that particular aspect to those muallims and muallimat who are having, let's call it backyard madrasas, that have taught probably some of the ulama that are ulama today. They started with that khalifa, that mu'allima in the backyard. So we are hoping, inshallah, we will be able to extend. So this to those, to that group of people. These are some of the things. But then we also have pre-Ramadan recognition and acknowledgement of our hufad, because they are the ones that make our tarawih so much more enjoyable. So we give a recognition to them as well prior to Ramadan. Then we and seeing that Sheikh has mentioned, and I think of myself and Sheikh had that this discussion, we need to become also more skill development orientated. We need to develop ulama in public speaking, in writing, good writing, report writing, even lecture writing, and other skills. Technology, I think Sheikh is very passionate about technology. I think we share the same passion for technology. This is a shining example. I want to actually on the live say that I know this has been Sheikh's passion for a while, and it actually came to fruition. Sheikh went into it. Sheikh researched it. Sheikh saw there's a need for it. You started it. This is what we would like to see from every alim, every imam. To me and Sheikh, for example, and to our viewers maybe, switching on a computer is a simple matter. To many, it's not as simple because they don't know anything about computers. And there's a host of other, the phone, Sheikh. This is a marvel of technology that can be used for the dissemination of deen. Absolutely. So those are some of the things that Imam Council will be focusing on in the future, in the near future, inshallah.
En dan kom ons nou die groot storie. Sheikh, you deal with marriage. Marriage counseling.
Yeah, Allah Akbar.
And of course, there are so many issues. We have a real problem in the Western Cape and South Africa. But particularly, I'm speaking for the Cape Flats, where we have seen over the past 20, 30 years, our divorce rate increasing, our marriages ending earlier than anticipated. So early marriages is, dissolution or separation is becoming a thing. So you've been through that. Yeah, you've counseled multiple people, many people with regard to that. Perhaps, if I may ask, without mentioning any names, any story that you found really humorous?
Allah Akbar. Sheikh, there's so many, and I think we need to put in a disclaimer.
You must certainly.
The disclaimer is that if any of what Sheikh and I are discussing resembles a person's situation, be reassured it's not your situation.
Alhamdulillah.
It resembles your situation, but we're not discussing people here, we're discussing situations, and we're not mentioning any names.
Yeah.
But probably the shortest.
And I would like to just ask our viewers the same, that this is our disclaimer. No reference to anybody. We are using just a story to illustrate the type of things that we have within our community.
Yes.
And the type of problems that we have in our community, without mentioning the names of people who might feel that it is them. It is not you, like Maulana said.
Yes. Yes. So the shortest one that comes to mind, where the lady says that the husband hits her. And I turned to the husband and I said, but she accuses you of hitting her. So he said, maar sy slaat my eers. She hits me first. Okay. So that is the shortest one that comes to mind. There's been other ones as well. laughable but extremely serious.
Yeah.
But there has been times, or other cases, where the husband gets angry because the wife is too humorous and too relaxed, and she tickles him when he's angry, which makes him more angry.
So,
Instead of laughing, he becomes more angry. So I said to the husband, maybe you need to just chill. Maybe that's her way of showing affection by tickling you.
yeah.
And we gave them some advice. We told them that perhaps you should tell her, don't tickle me now, tickle me later when the children are asleep. You know what I mean? But there's a host of, we know cases vary. There's the humorous ones, but there's also the very gross cases.
Such as?
Extremely gross.
Such as?
I apologize if this is going to be a bit graphic.
Yeah.
And I apologize to our viewers for this and to your honorable self.
But it needs to be
It
said.
needs to be said. The most gross case I dealt with was when a lady applied for a fasco nikah and annulment of the marriage, based on the fact that her husband beat her, physically beat her into submission for anal sex. To the point where she had to go to hospital for bleeding in her private parts, specifically rear passage. And a case was made against this husband, a case of marital rape. In that instance, yes, Islam has its views on marital rape, but in that instance, it was squarely rape. And she had to take out a protection order. But then she ran the risk of being attacked by his family, who are all belong to a gang. And that was one of the grossest cases I've had to deal with. There are many others, it's quite graphic. We don't want to go into those details, but that is the one that comes to mind. Then, and very recently so, there was this young lady, she's now 17. She came in with a 4-year-old or a 3-year-old on her arms. And she said that she's an orphan, and her life was one foster home to another, one foster home to another, and eventually her aunt cared for her. And then the aunt sadly passed away. And then at that time, the 54-year-old husband of the aunt married her at age 13. At age 17, she applied for her first fasakh, for her first annulment. And look at this. 13 when she got married, probably she was economically stranded. Probably she was a child of 13. We're not going to go into the discussion of young marriage. So that is not the discussion here. The discussion is that at the age of 13, she had nobody to care for her. She had someone who will take care of her, and marriage was the exchange. I will take care of you. Marry me, I will take care of you.
If I may just once again just remind our viewers that we are giving these examples because of the type of social ills that we have in our community, and that other people need to take or rather be aware of.
Yes.
Because our our marriages, it is sacred, but none of these are being brought to light. Everybody sees a gender-based violence, but nobody does anything to stop it.
Yes.
The end result is the people come to the imam and they expect the imam to perform miracles. If the imam says, go to the police, lay a case, then all of a sudden change of heart, change of mind.
Yes.
Because they feel there is no support.
Yes.
And our community, they can play a major role, a contributing role, if they stood up, if they knew that a person is being beaten to a pulp.
Yes.
Because you can see it. I mean, you're going to see the person tomorrow morning.
Yes.
Or tomorrow afternoon, and we know the difference between a mark where you have fallen and a mark where you have been beaten.
Yes.
those are the differences. So I'm just appealing to our community. When Molana is making references, it is not because he wants to highlight particular cases, but to highlight the type of things that is happening out there that as a community we need to combat.
Yes. Uh, the sad part of it is support structures and support systems. We have we have virtually none in place. We don't have a place of safety for women and children. We don't have a place of safety for rape victims. We don't have a place of safety for any kind of um, victim of any kind of violence. That is a sadness. So that victim goes back into that same abusive relationship because of economic distress. And this child is one case in point. She was 13. She didn't have anywhere to go. So she accepted the offer. She got married to this man at 54 and has been beating her for the 4 years till age 17. Imagine her entire youth was snapped away from her, just like that. And because of infrastructure, poor infrastructure, no support systems, no support structures in place, we, the Imams, and she was actually living at the masjid because she ran away. She didn't have anywhere to go. They told her, we can't keep you here forever because it is a masjid, number one. And number two, tomorrow it might just turn into something else. But this is just a case in point where we are stuck between a rock and a very hard place. And those are some of the sad, very graphic instances. At the age of 17, your first fasah, imagine this. She's been beaten. But other than that, in terms of the counseling, so this is we are currently we've been deployed to the office in Tafelsig. Yeah. Alhamdulillah, we are doing very well there. And in terms of my private counseling, that also continues at the masjid. And so often people can't stay out of work because they lose a day's pay. I don't know why. This is another important thing. Why there might be, I don't know, there might be accommodation for going for counseling. I think it should be included in sick leave because it is a sickness. But nevertheless, because you are consulting with someone, but be that as it may, if people, of course, cannot manage to visit the office, they're always free to contact us after hours. Again, reminding them, we give us this break. Inshallah, in the new year, we will be on active duty again, and then we can help those who are in need of help, inshallah.
Molana, for those considering marriage, especially those the young, uh, the youth amongst our community, or for those considering marriage, whether it is now or in the future, what advice do you have for them?
Study your partner. Study your partner. Don't meet your partner, like your partner, marry your partner. Study your partner. If I like someone, I don't like the person. I like what I see about the person. So that is in number one. I like what I see about the person. She smiles nicely. She speaks nicely. She appears or presents as a reasonably well-mannered person. I don't know her behind the curtains. So study your partner. I have in my marriage class, and I'll gladly share it with anyone. I have a list of 100 premarital questions that you should ask the person you're going to marry. I have seen, and I can only speak from my experiences, I've seen couples breaking up within days or within weeks or in fact, my record stands at about a month now. Yeah. Couple got married, and it was a lavish affair. I actually attended the wedding. Sheikh, also mense it mos net bout by special occasions. Daai wedding het hulle bout geserve. It was a lavish affair. Yeah, I had the nikah. Well, not I. Yes, I managed the process. A month later, they broke up. They did not even sleep with each other. They broke up, and the husband issued a talaq. In fact, that was these two couples of that kind. The one person, in so many words, says that no, I'm giving a talaq. You know what happened? He was married, and this is something maybe Sheikh we should touch on. The wife says that I actually have to walk naked in front of him. This was the first couple of days. The Sundays the marriage, in the first couple of days, I have to walk naked in front of him to get his attention. And even then, I almost don't get his attention. You know why, Sheikh? He was a gamer.
Okay.
And he was I want to say an addict.
Yes.
He was addicted to gaming, online gaming. It broke up his marriage. And sadly so. So that is the one hint that we would give those who want to get married. Study your partner. Ask about your partner. Ask those questions that I will gladly share. I can even share it online if anyone contacts me as well. The second part of it is trust others' judgment. Don't trust your own judgment. When I brought my wife home to introduce her to my parents, and then when she left, but the first word that my mother said to me, may Allah grant my mother Jannatul Firdaus, the first words that my mother said to me, "Jy is 'n goeie vrou vir jou." And based on my mother's judgment, I'm still married to my wife today.
Allahu Akbar. Alhamdulillah.
So trust the judgment of others, because every person will see a different side of every person.
Yes.
Whilst I might think that Sheikh is a well-mannered, a gentle person, mooi maniere, someone else said, no, that's a dragon, that's a demon. So everyone has a different perspective. Yes, everyone has a different opinion and a different perspective of everyone else.
That's right.
And the same can be said about our giants, our leaders. Someone will say this good about that politician. Someone else will say this bad about that politician. Someone will say this good about that sheikh or Maulana or Imam. And I bet you my bottom dollar, Sheikh, there's even people who dislike Sheikh, and there's people who dislike me as well.
Yes.
Yes. And especially those ladies, and I'm going to be very frank, where they don't get their way, they just dislike you. They just dislike you. I've seen this. I've been through it. So therefore, don't trust your own judgment. Study your partner. Don't trust your own judgment. Trust the judgment of others as well. And lastly, and more important than most important actually, if your partner does not have an iota of deen in him or her, that is a red flag. If your partner doesn't make salah before the marriage, you're going to struggle to get your partner to make salah after the marriage. We've seen this. If your partner doesn't have the modesty in her, for example, to dress modestly, you're going to have a struggle to get her to dress modestly after the marriage, because marriage to many young people means freedom. If your future husband is on drugs before the marriage, that's a red flag. You are going to not marry a person, you're going to marry a drug addict. You're going to sit with the struggle. So make careful decisions. Make decisions based on careful calculation. And ultimately, we ask Allah, Ya Allah, please guide me in this decision.
Maulana, last question. Our children is at home. Their relationship with their parents. What should their relationship be like during this time? And of course, parents, their relationship with their children, but especially this time. What would you say to the parents?
Generally, and then we will specify. Let your parents be the Mr. Miyagi to Daniel's son. Now, Sheikh might have seen the movie, what's it? Karate Kid.
Yeah.
Mr. Miyagi. Right. Daniel's son doubted Mr. Miyagi's wisdom. Or rather, he doubted the modus operandi, the way he taught him. He doubted it. In the end, he saw the wisdom in it. This is the advice to our children. Understand that your parents has wisdom. They've been places you've never been. They've been down the roads you've never been. They've seen things you've never seen, and they know things you don't. As in this particular period of time, I mentioned earlier in the discussion that I'm taking a few days rest. I'm taking a few days leave. Let's call it leave. Allah never goes on leave. So in as much as Allah's present the rest of the year, so too Allah's present now in this festive season. We have to make a little bit of sacrifice, and we can't go the places that they go. We can't go the places that we can't do the things that they do. Let them do it. This is their Jannah. This is our prison. Understand this. الدنيا سجن المؤمن وجنة الكافر أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. That the dunya is the prison of the believer and the Jannah of the kafir. Let the kafir, let us not be the, I think the Afrikaans word is afgunstig. Yeah. What is that in English?
Selfish.
Don't be selfish. Let them have their Jannah. We're still going to get ours. And don't become agitated and irritated with Allah and Islam because we can't have their Jannah. Let them have their Jannah. Ours will come when theirs are not there. So this is our prison. Bite it out, sit it out. Our time will come to an end in this prison. And so this is the advice for this time. Sabr, in the end, we are going to have the rida of Allah upon us.
Maulana, Jazakallah khair. It was absolutely delightful, sitting and talking to you, inshallah. And I'm sure that our people that listening, our viewers, they have enjoyed this few moments. And alhamdulillah, I'm sure they have benefited tremendously from the advice you have given, from what you have said. And inshallah, Jazakallah khair. Until next time, ma'asalama. And to our viewers, Jazakallah khair. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala preserve you and protect you, especially during this festive season. The most difficult one is still coming. Protect yourself and your children. Like Sheikh Ibrahim always read the ayah, Ku anfusakum wa ahlikum nara. Protect yourself and your family from the torment of the hellfire. And of course, this is through the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and of course, advice like the advice from our esteemed colleague, brother Maulana Sabri Davids. MashaAllah. Wa alaikum assalam wa